All right, guys, welcome to the short introduction or overview of the training that we're going to be going through here. So I know the video above this one was kind of like the welcome and all that stuff, how to get your content, everything else. This is going to be more like about what we're going to learn, and I think probably more importantly, like why we're going to be doing the things that we're doing and taking the steps that we're taking, because I think that's really important. If you don't understand why you're doing something, chances are you're probably not going to do it, and I wouldn't blame you. So I want to be very clear as to why we're going to be taking the actions that we're going to be taking coming up over the next, 7, 8 videos, whatever it is. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing, just so you guys understand, this is like the big broad overview. So we're going to have a list of qualified prospects. I'm going to explain what that means because that's really important that you understand that, because that's really like why we use the list that we use, okay, or why we use the place that we use. It's because they're all qualified prospects from the beginning, and we don't have to do any research. So here's a good example, right? I'm not saying any of you do this or are going to do this, but let's just say you have a $1,500 a month SEO package, and your thing is you're just going to like knock on doors in your local town. Well, you don't know if anyone in that town can afford a $1,500 package. You don't know if they're looking for new customers or new leads or new business or any of that stuff, or you don't know if you're talking to the right person or anything like that. 90% of our business comes from one place, and the reason why it comes from that, I'm going to show you that in this training program. The reason why and it's all free, by the way, too. The reason why it comes from that place is because the prospects are qualified, and we know that before we go in, so we don't have to waste time talking to people that aren't qualified. We never hear, I don't have the money. Literally ever. We never hear, I'm not interested. The only time we'll hear that is like if we're, let's say we're calling people, right? And there's 3 ways that we talk to people. Mainly it's through telephone, through email, and through Messenger. So Facebook message or whatever, direct message on Twitter or Instagram, whatever. So those are really the 3 main ways. And those are the ways that we're going to cover here. If we're on the phone with someone, every once in a while, like, we'll say, hey, this is Kenny from wherever, and they'll be like, not interested, bye. Like that happens, but that's always going to happen no matter what you do, right? But if they know, if we get out what we actually do, they never tell us they're not interested. Why? Because they're qualified prospects. They want what we have, right? They've demonstrated that. So it's really important that we understand that. I'm going to lay out what a qualified prospect actually is in a second. And then what we're going to do is, after that, we'll kind of move on. But before I do that, we're going to take this list of qualified prospects and we're going to pair them, for most of you, with one of 2 things, but I'm going to list out 3 separate things, okay? So the first thing is going to be a high ticket, I'm just going to put HT, affiliate offer, all right? So I'm going to say this quite a few times in this training program. You probably heard me say it before, but affiliate marketing is a great thing. It's a great way to make money. It's a great revenue stream for any business, and we use it a lot here. And, a lot of companies use Amazon as a massive, affiliate promoter. Like they promote other people's stuff all the time. It's a great way to build income, right? What you have to understand, though, and this is, I think, really, really important, it's not really a business model when you are the affiliate. Now, if you're a vendor and you have affiliates selling for you, that's fine. But if you're an affiliate, it's not really a business model. You don't have anything really that's sellable to somebody else, right? So my Facebook ad agency, for example, we have our client list. We have our people who didn't buy from us, so like leads, right? We have our pipeline of leads that we're working. We have our process that we run ads. We do all of our ads. 90% of our ads we do in-house. We have our staff that runs our ads. We have our own, little tweaks and twists that we do with our ads and all that kind of stuff. Those are all assets. So if I go to sell that business, I can include all of those assets. Now, obviously, I'm not going to include the people unless they want to stay with the company and all that. But all of the IP and the stuff that we have is included in that sale. Now, I'm thinking really big picture here. A lot of you are probably like, I just want to promote affiliate stuff and just make $2,000 so I can pay my bills. I get it, but I'm a big picture guy, and if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you probably should start thinking that way too. If all you do is affiliate stuff forever, you have nothing that's sellable besides your list of prospects, right? That's the only thing, and you want more than that because for the most part, selling a list of people or selling a list of customers or selling a list, Instagram did it, and they did great. They made $1 billion off Facebook. but they had hundreds of millions or tens of millions of people. You're not going to have tens of millions of people, I promise you. You're certainly not going to have 100 million, right? Maybe you have 5,000, 10,000, something like that. You're not going to make any money off of that. So we want to build something that not only is going to pay us now, but is going to create wealth for us, like almost everyone on, you look at the Forbes list. Almost everyone on that list, their wealth comes from two places: real estate and the sale of a business. Go ahead and look at it, right? That's what it comes from. Now, the sale of a business, and I'm really going deep into this. I don't know why. It has really nothing to do with what we're talking about. But the sale of a business can come in a number of different ways. Like, people wouldn't look at Jeff Bezos and say, oh, well, look, he sells his business. Or he sold his business. Well, he does all the time. Now, to the naked eye, it doesn't look that way. But what do you think the stock market is? Every time he dumps shares of Amazon stock to create income for himself, right? He sells off an asset of the company, gives up a percentage of the ownership of the company because it's a public company, right? So he gives up a percentage of what he has, and he takes income from that. So every time he does it, selling a company doesn't have to be like you're just signing a paper and then they're giving you $1 million and you're no longer associated with it. It doesn't have to be that way at all. You could sell half the company. You could sell 25% of it. You could sell 10%. You see it on Shark Tank all the time. I don't really watch that show, but you could see it, right? It happens all the time. So with an affiliate thing, it's great for income, but it's not really great for building a business as a whole. If it's part of a bigger scheme, that's a different deal, okay? And that's how we operate here. That's how Amazon operates, and a number of different companies like Apple and Kmart, Walmart, like all these big companies, they all operate that same way. So to get started, I think most of you are going to be in the high-ticket affiliate box. The reason why I told you all that stuff is because you're going to want to, if you're in that box right now, and that's where you're going to start, which is fine, completely fine. If you're going to start there, you want to move like this, right? You want to go here next, and then you want to go there last. And this is where you want to live for the most part. But you also want to include this and this in your business, even though you don't know what these two boxes are yet. That's okay. We'll go through that. But you always want to keep these two in there, but your eventual goal is to end up on this side, okay? And then you're going to keep these two in play. So the second one is white label services. So this is not an affiliate offer because you still have to maintain the customer relationship, and you got to, it's going to be your logo on there and everything else. But there's plenty of companies out there that will allow you to take their Facebook ad, stuff that they do, or their SEO or their web development or whatever it is. And they'll say, okay, you can come on as a partner of ours and you can put your logo on everything. You could say it's your company, it's your stuff. We're going to do the fulfillment in the back end. They're not going to know anything about us, or in the background. They're not going to know anything about us at all. And all we'll do is the SEO for you, local SEO for you, or whatever the product or service is, right? So there's a white label service that you can offer, high ticket affiliate stuff. And then finally, at the end of the line, there's your own, I think you guys know what I'm going to say here, your own products and services, okay? So we do all three of these, and if you look at pretty much every successful company in the world, especially digital companies, they do it the same exact way, right? They'll have their own product or service, like Amazon, for example. We can look at that all day long. They have Prime. They have, the Kindle Unlimited. They have the Prime Video. They have all of that stuff, right? And then what's kind of like a white label? This is a bad example of a white label service, but I think you're going to get the idea of what I'm trying to get across. White label service, right? Well, I'm using it right now. I have the Amazon Basics mouse. Now, technically, that's their thing, but they're not making these. Another company's making these. They're slapping Amazon's logo on them, and then they're sending them to me when I order them all the time because I always lose the other side of the mouse, and I hate Bluetooth. Bluetooth mouse is the worst because the connection always gets screwed up. So when I lose the dongle side, which is a stupid word, I always have to order new ones. So I have like 10 of them in my office floating around without the other side of it. So anyway, Amazon is not creating this. Someone else is creating it. They're putting the Amazon logo on it and they're selling it to you. That's basically a bad example, but you get the idea of a white label service. When you white label SEO, they're creating the SEO for you. They're putting your logo on it and you're selling it as if it were your own. An affiliate offer, though, using the Amazon example, is they're advertising on our site. We're bringing them the traffic, but that's their thing. They're going to ship it to you, or maybe the Amazon fulfillment will ship it to them. But it's their product, their service, their whatever. and it's their thing. Like if you have a problem with it, you go to them, right? That's basically how it works. Now, again, Amazon is probably not the greatest example in the world, but I think you guys understand the difference between the three. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here, right? So yes, high ticket affiliate offers. That's always where we want to start. If you're someone who's brand new, this is where you want to be. Why? Because the $7 affiliate offer is amazing, but it's a lot better to make a lot more money on an offer. I mean, listen, it is, right? If you can make $1,500 on an affiliate offer, that's good. If you can make, let's say a little bit less, a lot less, $40, but you make $40 a month for like literally ever, because the companies that I have listed here, people never leave them. So in the bonus section, I'm going to have a whole list of all these different things that you can do. But let's say it's $40 a month. If you know that $40 is going to come in for the next 5 years, that's awesome. That's like really good. That's much better than promoting a JV Zoo thing or whatever and having, $30 come in after 25 hours of working for it. That's ridiculous. That's like $1 an hour. It's stupid. So we want to focus on high ticket affiliate stuff. Even though sometimes the number will be low, it's a monthly recurring thing, right? So it's going to pay us for a long period of time. Either that, or if you're already doing this, or you say, you know what, I don't want to do affiliate stuff for whatever reason. I think everybody should. But let's say you don't want to do this. Well, then there's tons of white label services out there, okay? Let's say you don't want to do either of these. You have your own product already. Maybe you're already doing SEO, or maybe you're already doing Facebook ads or graphic design or web design or whatever. Well, then you can use my sales process to sell your own stuff. So you can use the sales process to sell anything you want. It doesn't really matter. But I think the natural progression here for most people is going to be starting off with high-ticket affiliate sales, moving over to white label services, and then moving over into your own products and services at a later date. And again, this could take, you could stay here for 2 years and just do that and just collect the income, right? You could stay here for another 2 and just collect the income and start building up a little bit more of a business, right? And then after 4 years, you end up here and you say, you know what? I can kind of do what the white label people are doing, and I'll own everything. So I'll invest, I'm making up numbers, but I'll invest 40 grand in the software that I used to white label, and I'll get my own created because I've been making a killing here and a killing here, so I'm going to own it all now, right? And that's kind of the progression that I took with a lot of the stuff that I did, like with my review tools that I own, like Google Review Tool and stuff like that. Like it started off with an affiliate thing. Like that's where we started. Then we white labeled something. Now we have our own software. We own it. Nobody could touch it. It's ours. And when we sell the business, if we ever do, me and my partners that are in the deal, if we ever do sell the business, that software is a huge asset, right? They're going to buy that and they're going to take it. They're going to use it. So that's kind of the natural progression. All right, now if I can figure out how to do this, because I honestly have no clue, I'm going to try to clear this. Let's see if this works. I'm just going to highlight it and delete everything. There we go. Okay, except for my weird looking M, everything else left. All right, so remember before we talked about, I'm going to switch to this one. It's a little fatter. All right, so before we talked about the reason why we go to the place we go to is because they're full of qualified prospects, okay? What is a qualified prospect? First thing we want to focus on is not just this, but I'm going to just write that. The first thing we're going to focus on is want, need, and desire, okay? A general want, need, and desire. This is also generally why I hate search engine optimization, okay? You're probably sitting there saying to yourself, search engine optimization is nails want, need, and desire. They're searching for it, right? True, but that's also where it stops, and that's the problem with it. It's not that it doesn't figure out who wants and needs and desires what I have. It does that perfectly, but it stops right there. That's why I love Facebook ads, and I love Instagram ads, and I absolutely love, even though we're really in the infancy stages of it, and we're not even doing it in-house yet, but I love YouTube ads because I could do both. I could do want, need, and desire, and I can also do ability. What does that mean? And then the last one, I'm going to write, and then we'll explain all of them. Number 3 is authority. These are the 3 things that need to be checked off in order for a prospect to be qualified, okay? If they do not have a general want, need, and desire for what it is you are offering, they will never buy from you. I don't care what sales book you bought. I don't care what socks you have from the 10X guy. It doesn't matter. They're not buying from you if they do not want it. I promise you, they will never do it if they don't want it, okay? Let me put it to you this way. This is going to cause some controversy, but I'm a controversial guy, so I really, really don't care. I'll give you 2 examples so that I don't offend too many people. Let's say you have a cousin or an aunt or an uncle who is like this maniac liberal person who just loves like Bernie Sanders or something. You're not selling them a Donald Trump shirt. No matter how good of a salesperson you are, no matter how many 10X conferences you went to, or no matter how many Harley Davidsons you have in your Manhattan rented apartment that you rent for an hour to shoot a video in, you're not selling them a Donald Trump shirt. It's not happening. Now, on the other side, so that I protect myself and make everybody happy, if you have someone who is a psychopath conservative, right, and they're looking at an Elizabeth Warren shirt, you're not selling it to them. They're not going to buy it because they don't want it. Period. No matter how good of a salesperson you are, you will never sell that person that shirt. Period. Okay? Now, that's a dramatic example and a crazy example, and that probably will never happen because someone who is, of their political class or whatever the hell it's called, I don't really follow any of that stuff, but whatever it is, they're not going to even look at that stuff. So it's kind of like a crazy example, but think about it this way. If you're a diehard Chevy fan, you're not buying a Ford, are you? If you're a diehard Ford fan, you're not buying a Chevy. I mean, you're just not going to do it. And there's certain things that people have to have a general want, need, or desire for what it is you're offering, or else they're just not going to buy it from you. I mean, it's just that simple, okay? Now, let's say you find someone like search engine optimization does masterfully. Let's say you find someone who desperately wants that brand new Ford F-150 Raptor. Right? I think it's like a $60,000 truck. Beautiful. $60,000 truck. Something like that. I don't know how much it is. But let's say they desperately want that Ford F-150 Raptor. $60,000, let's just say it is, right? They want it. They love it. They need it. Their car just broke down. Perfect, except they make $12 an hour. Where do we go from there? Well, you could go to the 10X conference, you can rent the Harley Davidson, and you can rent the place for an hour to shoot your Facebook ad and all that kind of stuff. You're not selling them the freaking car. They don't have the money to buy it from you. No matter what you do, what rebuttal you throw at them, they aren't buying it from you because they really can't afford it. You know, the number one thing that I get asked when I do sales training is, how do I get over the money objection? You know what I tell them? I say the number one way to get over the money objection is to prospect better. Because most of the time, if somebody says they don't have the money, it's probably because they actually don't have it. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't physically have, like, let's say you have a $1,500 thing, right? That doesn't mean that they physically do not have access to $1,500. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, to demonstrate ability, they have to be able to part with $1,500 and really not care. Right? Like if you're selling a car to somebody, and I keep using that example, but if you're selling a car to someone and the payment on that car is $500 and they make $600, do they have the ability to buy it? The answer to that question is no. Do they have the $500? Yes, they do. But do they really have the money to do it? The answer is no. Because they're going to be like sweating and stressing and going crazy and throwing up all over themselves every single month when they got to make their car payment. They can't afford it. So they're not going to do it. Okay, so we have to demonstrate want, need, desire first, ability, and then authority. What does that mean? If you've ever bought life insurance before, or you ever bought a house, or you ever sold a house, or you ever, anything like that, right? Like a big purchase, even a car, but if you have a good car salesman that you're working with, a lot of times what they'll say to you is like a real estate agent will call you, right? And your house is for sale or whatever. They'll call you, and what will they say when they're booking the appointment? They will say, when is a good time where I can sit down and meet with you and your wife, if you're the husband, or your husband, if you're the wife, or sometimes they'll say your spouse, right? A life insurance agent will say the same thing. When's a good time where I can come by and meet with you and your husband, or you and your wife? A car salesman will say the same thing. They'll say it a little bit differently, though, especially the ones that I've trained. They'll say something like, is the car just for you? Is it for you and somebody else? What are we doing? We're demonstrating authority. If that person says, nope, it's just for me, I'm the only one making the decision, let's roll, right? But if they say, well, it's for me and my fans, a family car, we're going to be going back and forth to the soccer games, everything else. Well, when's a good time that I can meet with you and your wife and the rest of your family, make sure everybody likes it, make sure everybody fits in it, everyone's comfortable, all that kind of stuff. Set the appointment, send him on his way because he's not a qualified prospect. He's not buying from you no matter what, okay? That's another thing. People ask me, how do I get over the wife objection? You prospect better. How do I get over the partner objection? What are you talking about? You call Joe and John's pizza place. John is away on a vacation, and you're asking me how to get over the objection? You're an idiot for calling the guy. Find out a time when both of them are there, demonstrate that they have the authority, and pitch them both at the same time and close the deal. Okay? So we must have all three of these things checked off in order to succeed. If we do not have, I keep looking at that word ability, and I think I spelled it wrong. So if you want to make fun of me, you can. I don't know if it's wrong or right. If we don't have all three of these things checked off, we will not win. Period. All three. Check, check, check. And when we do our prospecting, in the place where we do our prospecting, which is coming up in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show, or a couple of videos, I'm going to show you how we do that and where that, what that's all about. 90% of our customers come from one place. The reason why, the only reason why, is because before I even reach out to the person, I already know that these three things exist. And that is vital, okay? I already know they want what I have. I already know they have the ability to pay for it. And I already know that somebody there has the authority to do it. I just got to figure out who that person is, okay? So I just want to end on this very quickly. Want, need, and desire. I got into a little debate with someone who thought they were a salesperson. They were just an idiot, but whatever. They considered themselves a salesperson. They weren't, but they were like, they were arguing with me about something unrelated, and they brought this up. They said, I heard on one of your videos that, you should know that someone wants what you have before they buy it from you. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. I've been selling stuff for 20 years, and I've never had somebody want something before I presented it to them. Well, number one, that person's a moron, and number two, he doesn't understand what I'm saying. So I want to clearly lay out what it is that I mean by want, need, and desire, because maybe some of you are thinking maybe not that, but something along those lines, right? And that's a valid question. If I'm selling Facebook ads and I'm calling random people that I think want it, that I think have the ability, that I think have the authority, how do you think that like it's just a random Tuesday morning and that guy jumped out of bed and he's like, I'm going to buy Facebook ads today? That's not what I'm talking about. And if that's what you think I'm talking about, that's not the case. So I want to make that clear. When I say want, need, and desire, what I mean is a general want, need, and desire for what it is that you're offering them, the result. So let me give you an example, and then I'm going to give you a real-world example from my business, right? When I say somebody has a general want, need, and desire for a car prospect, what I'm not saying to them is that person woke up that morning and decided that they were buying a blue Honda Civic with a sunroof from your dealership at $325 a month at 5 o'clock at night. Not what I mean. What I mean is that person has it, their lease is up in 3 months. They just got into a car accident. They got their insurance check. Their car broke down 3 weeks ago, and they're Ubering around. They're borrowing somebody's friend, or borrowing a friend's car. That's what I mean, okay? Now, in my business with Facebook ads, I do not mean that the person wakes up and says, I have to hire someone for Facebook today, and I hope and pray that that person calls, and I'm answering his prayer. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that that person is demonstrating in some way, shape, or form that they want or are trying to get more leads and customers into their business. If they demonstrate that to me, I can present them the Facebook ad offer because I know that they want more customers coming in. And what does my Facebook ad agency do? We bring in more customers and leads for people. That's what we do, right? So it's the result that I'm looking at for number one. It's not the thing. And when people get that confused, they start to get all like, how do I know somebody wants to buy my coffee mug? Or how do I know somebody wants to buy my, bottled water? You don't. You don't. But what you don't do is you don't sell coffee mugs to people who don't drink coffee. That's stupidity. You don't sell water bottles to people who aren't thirsty. That's stupidity. Now, I didn't say they're thirsty for water, right? I said they're thirsty. You don't sell water bottles to people who just finished their last drink of water, right? You don't do that. People think, oh, that's the best prospect in the world. No, they just finished the bottle of water. Don't give them another one. Find the person who is like dying of thirst. I don't mean that literally, but like really thirsty. Here's a bottle of water. You have $1 to pay for it? Yes, that's a qualified prospect, and you're going to sell bottles of water like crazy. Okay? So I'm trying to demonstrate as best I can that this process works in anything that you want to do. And that's every product that I pretty much have ever created, besides there's a couple of them that weren't like this. They were very specific. But for the most part, almost all the training that I have, you can use what I'm about to teach you to sell cars, insurance, houses, real estate, mortgage, like whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is. We're going to talk about high-ticket affiliate programs here, white labeling here, stuff like that. That necessarily doesn't apply, but the sales process that I'm going to teach you applies to anything in the world because every single sale is exactly the same. You have to figure out these 3 things. You have to message them in the way they want to be messaged, at the time they want to be messaged, using the medium that they want to be messaged on, and then you got to ask them to do it. You got to have an irresistible offer. You got to ask them to do it. If they say no, you got to have a rebuttal sequence handy. So I'm not really going to go into that too deeply. What I will say is I'll give you an example, right? Messaging, time, place, and how, okay? You probably should watch this video a couple times and write some of this stuff down because I'm not writing any down. I'm not writing any of it down on the whiteboard. None of it is here. So write this stuff down. Messaging, how, where, why, timing, all that stuff. If you are selling term life insurance, and I'm giving you dramatic examples. None of you are selling term life insurance, I don't think. But I'm giving you dramatic examples to kind of paint the picture for you so you understand. If you're selling term life insurance to people who are 65 years and older, and you're advertising on TikTok, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know how else to put it. There's just no other way to put it. That's just stupid. That's dumb, right? If you start a video game store in a retirement home, that's stupid. Okay? So we have to be messaging in the place where our people are all the time. Okay? If you talk to a 60-year-old like you talk to a 20-year-old, it's not going to work. If you talk to a 20-year-old, like if I called up a 20-year-old woman and I said, well, yes, ma'am, thank you so much, she'll probably get pissed off at me for calling her ma'am. Makes her feel old, right? But if I went to a 60-year-old man and I was like, yeah, bro, they'd be like, who are you talking to like that? Like, that's stupid. That's ridiculous, right? But if it was a 20-year-old and I said that, they'd be like, okay, I don't really talk like that. But if I said that to a 20-year-old, they would be right on board with me, right? So we have to message in a way that they're going to respect and understand, and we have to do it in a place where they are. So when we go to prospect, we're going to go through 3 separate things. We're going to go through the telephone, we're going to go through email, and we're going to go through Messenger, Facebook Messenger, Twitter. You can use it on any messaging platform. It doesn't matter, even text messages. When you go and choose one of those methods, keep in mind who it is that you're contacting, when you're contacting them, and how they most likely would like to be messaged. Okay? I can tell you right now, my grandparents are in their late 70s. I don't know, 77, 78, something like that. If you're advertising on Instagram, they're probably not going to see what you're talking about. That's not where those people live, right? Same thing is true with a 20-year-old. If you're advertising to a 20-year-old in the newspaper, you're not getting your audience. So you have to know how the messaging needs to be sent. Some people like email, some people like Messenger, some people like telephone. We visit people every once in a while. We send direct mail every once in a while. We don't go through that in this training, and it's very rare that we do that. But sometimes we do, right? Why do we do that? Because we know that person that we're going to meet individually would prefer to sit down in person. Or that specific group of people that we're trying to contact, the best way to reach them is a certified letter in the mail or a FedEx package. So we just know because we've done our research, right? We know that when we call people, those people are more apt to pick up the phone. I'm not going to cold call an 18-year-old kid. Probably doesn't even have a phone that he answers. Probably looks at the number and says, I don't know that person. He hits the button on the side of the screen and you never get to him, right? But I'm going to cold call probably a 50-year-old. So you have to make sure that your messaging, how, where, when, why, all that stuff, matches the audience that you're going after. All right, that whole thing was kind of like a side note. So you might want to go back and like rewatch this and take notes on that. But that's really, really important to understand because we do go through 3 prospecting methods. There are the 3 main ones that we use. And I want you to know, like, if you're contacting certain people, you're going to use certain ways. And you can kind of just pick one. You can just say, I'm just going to do email, and that's fine. You can just stick with email. But just know your responses are going to be lower than, as opposed to if you said, okay, these people like to be emailed. That's the best way to get a hold of them. So that's why I'm going to choose that method, right? These people, this audience, they're on Facebook a lot. So they like to be messaged on Facebook. So that's the way I'm going to contact them. These people like to be called, right? A real estate agent, they love being on the telephone for whatever reason. Every time I call to a real estate agent, they're always answering the phone. They're always like cheered up and like happy and everything's going great. Real estate agents like to be on the phone. So a phone call is a great way to get in touch with them. Facebook Messenger might not be. Email might not be. They might not get back to you, in a reasonable amount of time. So we want to keep that in mind. All right, guys. So that is all for this longer than I thought introductions. I went on a little bit of a side note there, but good content anyway. So make sure you go back and watch it again and take notes on all of that if you didn't do that the first time around. And that is all. I will see you coming up in video number 1.